Catherine will speak on my behalf. Mrs. Meghan Markle has repeatedly written to the palace seeking our intervention in the Epstein matter, but, like Andrew, she must face her own consequences.
After more than 4 years of near total silence between two branches of the same family, King Charles sat down with Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and their 2 children inside Highgrove House. No cameras, no official statement beyond a single line. And yet, within hours, it was the biggest royal story of the year. This is what is actually confirmed, what is still just rumor, and why the difference matters more than usual in this particular story. For 4 years, the relationship between King Charles and the Sussexes had existed mostly in headlines rather than in a room. Since Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020 and relocated to Montecito, California, the family had crossed paths only at forced, public, grief-soaked moments: the death of Queen Elizabeth II, her funeral, the Platinum Jubilee. There had been no reported private, unscripted, sit-down time between Charles and his younger son's family since then. Not one confirmed visit. Not one photograph of Archie or Lilibet with their grandfather. For a family whose every gesture is read as political signal, that absence was itself a message. That changed on Friday, July 10, 2026. According to ITV royal correspondent Chris Ship, and later confirmed by Buckingham Palace and reported by outlets including the BBC, Fox News, and the Daily Caller, King Charles and Queen Camilla hosted Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and their children, Prince Archie, 7, and Princess Lilibet, 5, at Highgrove House, the King and Queen's private residence in Gloucestershire. The palace's own description of the meeting was deliberately minimal, a private family occasion. No photographs were released. No details of what was discussed have been confirmed by any official source. Buckingham Palace's phrasing was clearly designed to say as little as possible, while still acknowledging the meeting had taken place. The visit itself almost didn't happen, and the reason it almost didn't happen tells you more about where this family actually stands than the reunion photo nobody got to see. Harry had traveled to the UK for an Invictus Games event, the multisport competition he founded for wounded, injured, and sick military veterans. He wanted his wife and children to join him, their first trip back to Britain since 2022. But according to reporting from The Telegraph and later Fox News, a dispute over security arrangements nearly derailed the entire family visit. Harry lost his automatic taxpayer-funded police protection in the UK after stepping back from royal duties, and has spent years fighting that decision, both publicly and in court. For this trip, the arrangement that was eventually offered gave the family police protection only while they were on royal property, not for the rest of their time in the country. Fox News reported that, as a result, Meghan and the children initially were not expected to accompany Harry to the UK at all. They ultimately did travel with him. But the friction over how that decision got made didn't disappear just because the family showed up. Harry's spokesperson told People magazine that an offer for Harry to stay at Buckingham Palace during the visit had been extended, accepted, and then withdrawn. Palace sources gave a different version of events, telling reporters that Harry simply failed to respond to the offer by the deadline that had been set, and that his later acceptance came too late for the arrangements to still be made. 2 accounts, 2 different institutions, no agreement on the basic sequence of events, which is, in miniature, the entire Sussex versus Palace relationship of the last 6 years. One person who was notably not at Highgrove that day was Prince William. The Prince of Wales was reported to be playing in a charity polo match in Windsor at the same time his father was hosting Harry's family less than 2 hours away. The BBC confirmed his absence, but did not report a reason beyond the scheduling conflict. Royal watchers have not been shy about reading into that timing anyway. A charity commitment that happened to land on the exact afternoon of the first Charles-Harry-Meghan reunion in 4 years is a kind of coincidence royal reporters tend to treat as anything but. That's where the confirmed, source part of the story ends. Everything after this point moves into a different category of reporting, the insider source ecosystem that surrounds every major royal story, and that this particular story has generated an unusually large volume over the past few days. Several entertainment and celebrity outlets, drawing on unnamed sources, have published pieces claiming the reunion did not resolve the underlying tension in the relationship, and may have even made it worse. One report, citing commentary relayed through celebrity blogger Rob Shutter, quoted an anonymous source describing the security dispute as one insult too many, and claiming Meghan felt the family had bent over backwards for Harry's side of the family only to be embarrassed again. A separate piece quoted former royal butler Grant Harold suggesting the Highgrove visit could have been a huge step toward repairing Meghan's public image and her relationship with the king, but only if she takes what he called a positive step forward to fix things, implying that so far, in his view, she hasn't. It's worth being honest about what these claims actually are. They are not palace statements. They are not confirmed on-the-record accounts. They are anonymous source pieces from entertainment sites, built on the same speculative insider format that has driven royal tabloid coverage for years, sometimes accurate in hindsight, often not, and almost never verifiable in the moment they are published. Treat them the way you treat any unsourced claim about a private family. Interesting context for the temperature of the coverage, not established fact. The same 48 hours also produced a wave of adjacent stories that showed just how much appetite there is right now for anything Sussex-related. One outlet reported that Meghan was erupting over accusations that she and Harry used their children as leverage in the security negotiations, another anonymous source claimed. Another reported, again via unnamed insiders, that William had suspected the visit was some kind of strategic move by Harry and Meghan from the start, and that those suspicions had only deepened since. A separate story claimed Charles had made something very clear to Harry before he even arrived in the country, without specifying what that something was. None of these carry palace confirmation. All of them are being framed with the language of certainty anyway, which is precisely how a single confirmed afternoon at Highgrove House turns into a week of competing exclusive narratives. So what do we actually know, stripped of the speculation? We know the reunion happened. We know it was the first time in 4 years that Charles, Camilla, Harry, Meghan, and both children had been together privately, away from a funeral or jubilee. We know the palace chose to say almost nothing about it publicly, which is itself a form of message, a family that wanted this seen as normal, not as a breakthrough to be celebrated or explained. We know the path to that reunion was genuinely contentious, built on a real and ongoing legal and political fight over Harry's security status that has nothing to do with sentiment and everything to do with UK government policy. And we know William wasn't there, for reasons that have been reported but not fully explained. What we don't know, despite what a lot of headlines from this week will tell you, is what was actually said inside that room, whether Charles and Meghan spoke directly, whether this represents a genuine thaw or one-time, carefully managed gesture, or whether William's absence was pointed or purely logistical. Nobody outside that house knows those things, and anyone claiming otherwise through an anonymous insider is asking you to trust a source that, by definition, cannot be checked. That gap between the single, confirmed, quietly worded fact of a family meeting and the flood of dramatic, unverifiable claims about what it means is really the story here. It has been the story of Harry and Meghan's relationship with the royal family for years now. Every real, small, human moment between them gets almost immediately buried under a mountain of speculative content built to keep the drama going, because the drama is what performs. The actual event, 4 people and 2 kids sitting in a room together for the first time in 4 years, barely needs embellishment. It's already a meaningful moment for a family that has spent most of the last half-decade unable to be in the same room at all. Whether Highgrove turns out to be the start of something more regular, or a single carefully bounded exception, is genuinely not something anyone outside the family can answer yet. Buckingham Palace's own description, a private family occasion, was likely chosen for exactly that reason, to say a meeting happened, and to say nothing else that could be turned into a promise, a policy, or a headline. Whatever comes next, it's worth watching for confirmed statements from the palace or on-the-record reporting, rather than the wave of anonymous sources, say pieces that tend to follow any real royal news by about 48 hours. This week's coverage being a fairly clean example of exactly that pattern in action.